Yo, what is up? What is up? Happy Saturday to you. It is November 2nd, 2019. You are watching Couchdoodles Live. I'm your host, Fragaboom. Today we're going to do some more Black Flag development, talk about comics, talk about the good old days. Let's go and check the board and see who's in the house. It's a brand new day, brand new morning. If my stepson is watching this, because sometimes he does, happy 15th birthday to you, even though you're in the other room. Let's see who's in the house right now. Oh, there we are again. What up, Akuma? Number one. Good to see you today. So today we're going to do some more Black Flag development. Some of what I want to do is design a vibe, also cohesiveness between the team, but not so much of a uniform. That's one of the things I didn't care for in the last Avengers, is they all had that sort of similar uniform, and I thought, hey, you know, the thing that I like about a lot of these teams is how everybody works together, but they're individual. So I like that. What's good? What's up, Chris? How are you, sir? Happy Saturday to you. So today I stopped by the comic book store, and I do what I always do. I always go dipping in the back issue bins. Today's haul was a copy of first printings of Dark Knight from 1986 of issues 2, 3, and 4. I also happened to pick up a Spider-Man issue that had an appearance of one of my favorite oddball villains. I think his name is Dr. Spot. Also picked up the new Batman, I think it's called The White Knight or something like that. It's got Batgirl on the cover. Looked pretty cool. What else did I pick up? I think that was about it. A couple of Pokemon cards for my kid. He likes Pokemon cards even though he doesn't play. You know Harrison. He loves it. What up, D-Oots? What up, Ballandor? Hopefully I said that correctly. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the chat room, the Fragaboom room with the dudes. Spelled D-O-O-D-Z. It's everybody. It's not just the men. It's the ladies too. It's a play on the word doodlers. Just doesn't sound as childish. I hope you're doing well on this fine Saturday evening. It's 9 o'clock. My stepson wanted Korean barbecue, so we had that for lunch, and I got the what do they call that? The meat tireds, not the meat sweats. I didn't quite sweat it out, but I had enough brisket to last for a very long time. Today, I'm gonna get the question of what's in the bottle. Back issue diving is my favorite thing because this particular store called Kapow up in Cumming, Georgia, a couple exits down from where I live, their back issues are so sporadic, and he's always getting new collections, and there's a lot of really great deals in there, and every now and then I'll go dig in, especially the boxes that aren't like super organized. It's like, hey, we got a new shipment in, and they kind of throw it together in like a bunch of boxes. It's like, this is the international symbol for back issue deal, and it looks a lot like this is the one when you're in a record shop, and then this is the one in a comic book shop. It's either Doctor Strange or some couch diddler, as one of you guys would say. All right, let's see. We could go to the rack too. I'm not afraid of going to the rack and showing you what I picked up, or maybe I'll just go over to the rack, grab them, and then show them to you guys. It was, like I said, it was a very good haul. Those are the profits. There we go. Where are we at? Here they go. These bad boys right here. I'm gonna put on the POV cam so you can see, and you can see the great deal that I got too. This is Batman Dark Knight Triumphant. First printing. No, it's not graded, and yes, I did open it up and I sniffed it and all of that. Here's issue 3. I used to own a page from this one. I got this at a great price. Then, of course, here's the iconic issue 4. I got them searching for me to see if they can find me first printing of issue 1. I'm hoping they'll have one. I'm actually doing a signing up there on the 23rd of this month. It's the Saturday after He-Man, the Masters of the Multiverse comes out. So if you guys are in the Georgia area that you want to get that book signed, that's the first place to get it done. And again, the really cool back issues there. Let's go put them back on the rack. So I often get asked, what up, Audio Odyssey? I often get asked about what beverage I'm drinking. Today, I feel like it's going to be a fun stream, so I've got Elysian Space Dust. Let's just take it to the POV cam. Elysian Space Dust. And then we also have, you like my light? We also have Sweetwater 420 strain Mango Kush Wheat Ale. This one tastes like a bag of greenery or shrubberies or whatever they call them. You kids call it these days. Wonderful. Wonderful. Let's see. I'm having Inktober and Couchdoodles withdrawal. Didn't have my daily theme. Happy you're streaming. Yo, man. D, what's really great about drawing sometimes is you can do whatever you want. So you could create your own November prompts if you want. I know my buddy Dave Tigerman Smith is doing something called G.I. Joe-vember, and there's a list of G.I. Joes. That's if you're a G.I. Joe fan. I did, a couple years back, I did something called Skull Eye, which was artistically fun because you're supposed to draw a skull every day of the day of July. And you go, I can do that. And then about 11 days in, you're like, okay, I need to change it up. And then you really like pain yourself to do it. And then you break this sort of threshold into new spaces in your mind and creativity. And then I found by the end I was doing all kinds of wacky stuff. So make your own prompt list. That might be a good thing. You know, a friend of mine also got me a book that I think I showed it in one of the streams. It's like a book of 652 prompts that you can draw in the book itself. That'll make you an artist. That'll make you do stuff. They had like, you know, close-up of cottage cheese, I think was one of them. It's like, draw that. Well, that would be fun, especially if you really wanted it to feel a certain way, you know. Let's see what else is in here. Jazz Cabbage. Yeah, Jazz Cabbage. I have, I think, 2 more cans of Jazz Cabbage. This is the last one of the Kush. And then I have 3 more of the Space Dust. So if you guys are in town, want a beer, maybe next year I'll do Hovember. Draw a hot chick every day for November. I don't know what I think of that, man. I think drawing a hot chick every day is excellent. Calling it Hovember, though. My wife's a hot chick. I wouldn't ever say that. And if I wanted to keep my head on my shoulders. Anyway, it's a good concept. I think I would fail at it, like I said, because I have a hard time drawing the ladies as well as some of the other stuff. You know, it gets lopsided. I think everybody has their own idiosyncrasies and things that they don't think they're good at. You know, some of the things that drive us, you know, give us the inner fear. Sometimes when we draw and we don't feel as confident. I think next year's prompt list could be one to teach us all. Let's see here. I just drew riffing, but I did break in a new fountain pen, digging the medium tip. Excellent. That is excellent. So let's jump in. Let's jump in on the iPad and see what we can do as far as maybe some comic reviews or some drawing. What would you guys like to see? You guys want to dip into some comic book mayhem first? We can do that. Let me load this guy in real quick. In we go. In we go. All right. Comic book mayhem. Where should we go? That's Commandy. We were looking at that the other day, weren't we? You know, one of the things we haven't really looked at is old Jim Lee. And one of the ones that I thought was great was this particular issue here. Number 269. We also had Scott Williams on inks. But then when you look inside, you notice that those inks look a little different. I mean, look at Rogue's face here. The lines are, dare I say, bloopier. And you see Rogue, and compared to last issue, look at this Rogue. Look at the way she looks here. Okay. Now let's go back one issue. That's this one here that we've viewed before. The lines are sharper. A little more contrast, a little more gestural. Take a look at that guy's face. Cool stuff. But this here, this is some very inspired stuff. Some of my favorite stuff is in here. You get the this particular image was the stuff of kids who dug the 90s comics when this came out. This was the stuff of dreams. Anyhow, the reason why I'm showing you that issue is for the simple fact that the guest inker that issue was none other than Art Bear. What's great, guys, is Art Bear is going to be our first live guest via satellite from California on Tuesday at 9 p.m., same time that you tuned in tonight. He's going to be talking about his new series, his Indiegogo series, Chronos Mechanics. He's going to talk about Black and White, talk about the good old days of inking guys like Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, himself, some of his penciling things and his time at Extreme Studios. Sure to have a ball, so please definitely tune in. I know I will. If you can't make yourself laugh, you know? Okay, so let's check the board real quick. Yo, Dan and Chad, I was watching The Devil You Know Inside the Mind of Todd McFarlane. It's a good one, man. Let's see. Yeah, it's a good documentary. What up, Broadwell? Oh, snap, 269 was my first Jim Lee X-Men. Yeah, it's a good one, too. What up, Andrew J? What up, Comic Vantage? All right, so let's take a look. I remember the very first time I thought, hey, I mean, I like those other issues we just looked at, but this particular issue, this Extinction Agenda stuff, this is what solidified me as a Jim Lee fan. There are this group shot is very reminiscent of something you would see in a Art Adams comic. That lineup, you can tell that this is an Art to Bear page. You can just tell his inks. I wish I had like a play-by-play pencil like the football NFL guys tracing over, but I could do it if I took a snapshot and I was a little more less riffing than I am now. But you could just see in the lines that's Art to Bear's inks there. I would say this is Scott here. One of the things that really tripped me out about this double pager was that the colorist missed a piece of Storm's costume, making her look really sort of skinny up top. See here, that white space. The colorist colored it like it was that blizzard stuff, but it should have been the yellow that we see on her suit usually. Here's a great page. Great faces. Forge is a player. Look at that. I don't know how many times. Oh man, how many times I copied this particular face on Forge. I just thought it was a great rendering. Here's a page I used to own. I used to own this one. This was an Art to Bear page, inking over Jim, of course. It was a nice use of Zipatone back there behind Richter, and at the time there was nothing that looked like this. Kick in the door. That's certainly not a 4.4. That is a big blast gun. Let's see. Here's another good one. I don't know how many times I copied that cable as well. And you could see, you know, I've given Sniper this same sort of vest, that puffy collar. What do these capsules do? Those ninja pills? What is that stuff? I don't know. I do know it looks cool. I have various stages of this page in Xerox. I have breakdowns, pencils, inks. But again, this is the first time I really thought, who is this Jim Lee fella? I mean, I'm not being totally serious, because I was a big fan of his Punisher War Journal work as well, which we'll review at some point. Big fan of that. But I remember the exact issue that blew my mind was this particular issue here. There was something so savage and feral about his Wolverine here. He looked like he was moving a million miles an hour. It's just a striking cover. And then who could forget this sequence? Unfreaking believable. And then this one. You just look at that, and it's savagery, man. I mean, even today it still resonates. And this is a 29-year-old comic book. It's pretty incredible. So yeah, this was the first one, but he still wasn't singing in the same way that he was doing and did later on the Extinction Agenda. Fantastic stuff. Let's check this one out. This is sort of a uncelebrated X-Men issue, and I'll tell you why it's great. Jim was working on the double-sized issue of 275 and needed the time for it. So he said, "Can I get a fill-in on 273 so he can use that extra time to do 275?" What's great is you get some really solid art in this book, all inked by Scott Williams. And then when you look at who the pencilers were, Whilce Portacio, Klaus Janson, John Byrne, Rick Leonardi, Mark Silvestri, Michael Golden, Larry Stroman, and Jim Lee. Okay, that is quite the lineup, and it's all inked by Scott Williams. So anybody who's like an avid inker follower like myself, I have secret obsession with ink and inkers and the alchemy and chemistry that happens between pencilers and inkers. So seeing Scott Williams, whenever I see him ink other people, especially in the old days, whether it was Eric Larson, Rob Liefeld, Butch Geis, John Byrne, all these guys in here, is always quite a treat. So let's jump in again. So here we have him inking Los Protasio. Again, there's that really excellent cable outfit. I really dug it. I like the tech here. It says a lot by not putting too much into it. This is a Klaus Janson page. You can tell by the face. This is also Klaus Janson. Again, you can tell by the face. It's still Scott Williams inking him. Some more Klaus. This is John Byrne. This is Scott Williams inking John Byrne. What a strong panel. Just well drawn. Some more of John Byrne and Scott Williams. Some more of that. Here we have Rick Leonardi. He's one of my personal favorites. I found his work on Cloak and Dagger and thought he was excellent. Some more Rick Leonardi here. This is clearly Silvestri. Scott Williams inking Silvestri is a wonderful thing. Mark, always great at drawing the beautiful ladies. Here we have Michael Golden. And his stuff is always cartoony and elastic. And I remember when it came out, I thought it was weird looking. Now as an adult, I really see how clean and epic it is. Now here are some of Jim's pages, and you can see there's some luscious drawing in there. But yeah, again, this was a pinch hit. Here's some Stroman. That was Larry Stroman there. So that was a pinch hit issue. And there was another one. A lot of people don't know about this particular issue. The thing that's kind of incredible about this issue here is you will see, I'm not sure which page it's on, but they did this issue in 1 week. And the way they had done this issue in 1 week is Jim would do layouts, Wills would come in, throw down pencils, and Scott Williams and Carl Alstetter would do finishes, and it was all hands on deck. And there are some, I mean, this Gambit face, that is one of my favorite faces to come out of that studio. I always thought it was great, but they this was the all hands on deck issue, and that's why it's got kind of a trippy style to it, because it's basically the whole studio jumping in and taking care of the issue all at once, and they're what do you call it? They're not the only ones to do that kind of work. See, here we go. Chris Claremont, writer, art by Homage Studios, Lee, Protasio, and Williams. They forgot to include Carl Alstetter. Carl was an assistant there for Jim and Wilson and did a lot of work there. So that's where some of Carl's roots come from. He was one of the guys on the bumpers for the Couchdoodle show. Hope to have him on one day. Let's go to the boards and see who's on, see who's talking, see what questions are out there. Let's see. What up, Leg Kick? Welcome. Mitchell Coleman, how are you, man? Acts of Vengeance was an underrated cosmic event. It was all over the place. Let's see. Larry Stroman is a beast. Yes. Will started off as one of my favorite pencils, but now he has changed his style and actually got better. Yeah, that's the weird thing. What happens if you keep practicing? I wish Klaus did more art. So do I. And I wish to get inked by him one day. Does Scott Williams toss his own detail on the inks? He draws like Jim, so I'm sure it translates into his inks. I think maybe he does. I think a lot of the times Jim will throw him some stuff that's a little looser, and because they have as you said, a similarity in vision, they're able to tie it down and create something consistent. Does Golden still work in comics? Yes, he does. Right now he's doing some Star Wars covers. He's one of my favorites. 1 week, yes. I heard an interview Wilson and Jim would compete on how long they could stay up and how quickly they could finish a page. That's something that's very true. What up, Skull Diamond? How are you? Thank you for joining again. It's good to see you here. John Byrne, Drawn Sword. John Byrne, it entirely depends because at his peak he was doing 6 books a month. That's not saying full pencils. I think he was doing full pencils on 2 and doing breakdowns on the other 4. But that, I mean, that's a lot of firepower. I mean, it is. Like, I could lay out a book in a week if I had to, but I mean, and I'd lay it out super well. That's the other thing too, you know. There's a style of storytelling that goes for clarity, and I think clarity is a wonderful thing. But I also think that exciting page layouts and juicing moments and creating eye flow are very important too, and that ends up taking a lot of time. But John Byrne is pretty quick. In fact, I had looked up something. It was like the most prolific penciler, most prolific writer, the most prolific inker, and I mentioned it yesterday. And what they mean by prolific is who has done the most pages. I immediately thought it was Jack Kirby in the #1 spot. It was not. In fact, it was Kurt Swan. And then in the inking category, #1 was Vinnie Coletta. He had inked the most pages in his career up until that list was compiled. But our friend Art Taber is #12. Norm Ratman was #20. Danny Mickey's #25, and that's pretty incredible considering it's all time. You know, I don't know where John Byrne falls in there. I forgot to look. I know Kirby was #2. He was up there. Scott Hanna was #2 inker, I believe, which was kind of crazy, right? Kind of crazy. What's in the bottle? What's up, Mr. Milton? And Skull Diamond is drawing Hawkman. That's cool. I don't think I've ever drawn Hawkman before in my life. Mr. Milton, I have 2 bottles going. I've got a Sweetwater 420 strain IPA Mango Kush, and then an Elysian Space Dust. But I'm having the Kush first and Space Dust second. Let's take a look at some other comics. It looked like our screen died out. Let me give it a whirl again. Start broadcast. 3, 2, 1. I also want to show you guys some other cool stuff found on Twitter. But let's jump into something else here. Let's see Punisher here. Here is the stuff I was telling you guys about. Like, this is one of my favorite issues here. I liked anything that dealt with high school because I was going to high school at the time, so it was great. And one of the things I really thought was cool about this cover, and I don't know why I liked it, but those pills. Like, he drew so many of them, and it created this really neat little bit of detail to look at. What a great shot, right? We got foreground elements. These teenagers don't quite look like teenagers. I think one of them is supposed to be Wills, and the other one I think is supposed to be Scott Williams, if I remember correctly. The ones choking each other out in the beginning here. Some more good stuff, but this is what I wanted to show you. Look at that fun lettering on the chalkboard. That is the lettering of Ken Brusnak, and Brusnak is the letterer for Black Flag. So he's lettering by hand, just like he did these. I like the way these letters feel. I especially like his versatility. His sound effects are great. Just an excellent letterer. So that's one of the reasons I want to show you guys some of that. Let's see what else we have in the back issue bin. Alyssa wants to know, what did the kids dress up as on Halloween? Harrison, My 6-year-old was Pikachu from Pokemon in a homemade Pikachu costume made by my lovely wife. Lily Bell was a witch, also made a homemade costume by my lovely wife. And then Chance was the bear from Ted 2. He was in a big bear suit. So that's what the kids were. And then Samantha, my wife made her a skunk costume. She would not wear it. She did not like it. So she would wear the little kitty ears. So she was a little kitty cat and not a skunk. So that's what happened for the kids on Halloween. So check out the long boxes here, guys. Do you guys have any of these long boxes that you think you want to see me dip into, and we could do a Fragaboom review? That's me being real quiet. So if you guys want me to jump into one of these long boxes, I certainly will. Otherwise, I'm going to jump in all by my lonesome. Like this. This is the Youngblood long box. What's up, Mr. Yaki? Good to see you, pal. I miss you. I'm having a mango kush. Thinking of you. When does the wife? What does the wife do for work? Sounds like she's a designer of some kind. My wife is a wife and a mother who runs her own business outside of our house, much like I do. She creates costumes, does little kids' clothing. She creates almost all of our babies' clothes. She does tumblers, keychains, vinyl, shirts. She's awesome. So a lot of times when I need prototypes, I go to her. She's my amazing lady. Got any Barry Smith in there? Why, yes, I do. In fact, I don't mind jumping in on that. Or X-Force or Pit. Let's see. Let's go for X-Force first. Here we are. This was a record-breaking comic book. Paul, you're asking about some Lanier Wolverine? If you could give me issue numbers, I can get them loaded up on this iPad, but probably not today. I don't have them. Okay, so this X-Force broke records. It came with 5 different trading cards, and they were polybagged, so it was kind of interesting that way. Really fun, splashy colors, fun artwork. Then you get into this awesome double pager. One of the things that's really weird about editorial, because Rob told me he put a After Perez on this, which I'm pretty sure he did, and we'll jump in real quick and show you why that's important. Let's see if it's in here. No, I don't see it. Hold on. Yes, here we go. Too bad it's in the same app, so we won't be able to cross-reference it, but here we go. Mountains in the snow. And then boom. Let's take a look at that. Soak that in a little bit. Take it in, soak it in. Then we go over here to X-Force where we see that. So mountain shot, talk, boom, double pager. It happens, right? So, but that's okay. Like I said, I know he wrote After Perez in there, and they should have kept it. But this, some really fun stuff. Rob was really setting the tone for his style here. Look at Strife looking awesome. Farrell looking awesome. The color on this stuff is super striking. The thing I really appreciate about this stuff specifically is there was a lot of imagination, a lot of characters, a lot of new characters, a lot of new concepts coming at you, and then they were all coming at you as comic booky as possible. There was no doubt at all that this was a comic book. Classic face-off between Kane and Deadpool. Classic Liefeld pose. Really fun double pager. Some Deadpool action. Look at that. Hands firing off. That choke shot down there is great. Yeah, X-Force was a lot of fun. X-Force was a whole lot of fun. Pitt. Something interesting about Pitt. I'll give you guys a little tidbit. So the very first issue, the way the lettering was done is it was done on overlays. And they, instead of scanning the overlay separate and the art separate, they were scanning the art through the overlay. So a lot of the art didn't come out as well as it could have. And they only learned this in hindsight. Dale thought maybe it was because the amount of inks, and he thought maybe that there was a contrast issue because of how much ink was being used. Like this, it wasn't as open as he wanted. So with issue 2, you'll notice they did some course correcting. There's some luscious Scott Williams over here, but look at how different and more open the artwork is in issue 2. A lot less black, and that was because he thought he was adjusting so his comic wouldn't be so contrasty. But in reality, what the problem was is they were scanning the artwork through the transparency that had the lettering on it. Who colored that? Are you asking about Pitt? Pitt, I believe that was it. It might have been Ollie Optics. Let's take a look. Gotta see that splash page. Maybe it'll say in this one. That says Kiko right there, Mr. Yaki. So I'm gonna guess Ollie Optics. I do have the Tekokin Concrete books. Oh, the X-Force, that was, if I remember correctly, that was Brad Mancata. Let's take a look. I think it was Brad Mancata. Yep, Brad Mancata color art. That's who was coloring this stuff for Rob. Very poppy, very comic book. No. Do you feel today's books are striving more for a realistic look as opposed to the stylized, over-the-top, cartoony look? Jason, that is a great question. My answer for that is I do. I feel like a lot of comic books are trying to emulate movies or become movies, and I feel like there's a pendulum swing that happens. It happened before in the 60s, then the 70s were a little different, then the 80s were different, than the 90s and the 2000s, and it's this sort of pendulum swing. So I feel like the guy who set the bar originally for that more quasi-real movie-like comic book storytelling would be Brian Hitch, at least in a modern day. Neil Adams kind of did it a little bit, but Neil still managed to make comics feel like comics and less like movies with staples. So yes, I do feel like there are a lot of comics that their focus is on realism, and also there tends to be I don't want to say house styles because that's offensive, but there's a tighter degree of looks that a lot of stuff is blending together for me. I'm not going to name names, but I started going to the comic book store again about a year ago, and usually the guys that stand out to me, the ones I go, I know who that is, are the ones that have a little personality to their style. It's a little not so photorealistic. All the other ones, I'm just kind of like, they're well drawn and solid storytelling, but there's nothing about them that are making me must buy. Let's see what else we got here. Overlays affecting the scans. Yes, it might have happened on Cybernary. Today's comics feel very samey and sacred, or scared compared to what was happening in the 80s and 90s. Also, the production of your stream is top notch. Thank you, Bellendor. That's very kind of you to say that. We're trying to dial things in every day. There are little things that we can't predict. Like yesterday, somebody called. This whole OBS is all phone and iPad based. There's no computers in this whole situation. So sometimes if somebody was to call my phone, makes my phone ring, kills the stream, kills everything, and I have to go back over again. Learning some of the editing. Would like some more camera movement and some other things that will eventually evolve into very much for your kind words. We do try. Couchdoodles, Lanil's issues were 113 to 145. If you had fill-in artists, I think his best work was Ultimate Wolverine versus Hulk. Yeah, it was excellent stuff. I like Lanil's stuff. He started off a little bit kind of Whilce Portacio like, little pinch of Travis here and there, and then he went off and did his own thing. So jumping back in, let's go to the other comic app that I have on here. I have several, but they all have different books on them, and this one happens to have, for example, all of Dave Finch, his pencils to his Batman stuff. So a lot of times I like to look at stuff and see. I like his stuff a lot. I don't want to draw like him. And usually that's like how I know if I'm really like, I love this guy's stuff. Is if they make me want to draw. Dave Finch's stuff, I enjoy it because I think it's well done. It makes me want to look at it for sure, but the guy that makes me want to draw, like when I see his stuff, and I told him so too, and I've said his name a couple times, but you got to see this. This is a t-shirt design by Rob Willis for the Shinobi Sasquatch campaign. I just love it because it hits all the right notes for me. It feels Sam Keith, it feels Dale Keown, it feels Bernie Wrightson, it feels old school Splat. It just feels old school, and that for me, like I said, it hits those notes, which I really, really dig about his stuff. Mobius is another one of those guys that has impacted me. Kirby, obviously Kirby's great. I remember loving, out of all the Heroes Reborn books, my absolute favorite was Whilce's. And it wasn't because it was Iron Man. It was because he drew, to me, one of my top 5 favorite Incredible Hulks. I don't even think he's in this issue. I know he's in the next one. But look at that. Look at that Hulk. He's got long hair. Those proportions are ridiculous. That, man. Oh my goodness. That's just a mind blower right there. This is before the movie. That's what's the most striking about it for me. Is this feels as awesome to me as any shot in all of the Iron Man movies, and it came before, you know, and that Hulk. Just the scale of that Hulk is so great. That's my favorite part of the whole his whole thing with his Hulk is the proportion. I love that arm. I love the shading on that arm. Um, but yeah, this was my favorite stuff out of all the Heroes Reborn work. There's just something about it that was super duper different. This was quite an excellent book. Impulse, old Humberto Ramos. I loved this when it came out too. It had its own quirk and its own sort of fun to it. Very cartoony, very much in tune with who the character was. But then again, here you go. I love, especially when I was a kid, I loved any comics that happened in school because it felt very real to me. That's why when I did Kid Supreme, I put a lot of it in the high school. A lot of it was in the high school. Let's see what we got. Balin d'Or. That is Brett Booth is one of those guys. Yeah, Brett's great. Especially the inks by Adelso Corona. Those guys are excellent. Let's see. Cybernary by Manabat is crazy awesome. Wish there was more. Yeah. He passed away, and that's part of the issue. Any rare Manabat. I think Cybernary is the only stuff that I know of. We can pull that up right now if you guys want to take a look at some Cybernary. I have no problem looking that up. I'm going to look it up. Now's a really good time to take a little sip of a beverage. Cybernary. Here we go. Issue 1. We are in. Except that's not it. That's not it. This is not it. 1995. Trying to remember the first place I saw Cybernary. Where do you guys remember seeing Cybernary the first time? Because this is looking like Volume 2 when it shouldn't. See, Cybernary. Let's see 2.0. No, that's Eric Canetti, who we love. We're big fans of Eric Canetti here. Interesting. And it's just covers. Very strange. Very, very strange. You know what we'll have to do regarding that is I'm going to have to go into my my comic vault over here, which I have a lot of comics. Only scratching the surface is what's on this iPad. I only put about 15 gigs on this iPad, and I have almost a terabyte of comic books on that. And I love that. I love that I have several long boxes worth of comics on this iPad, because try to imagine carrying those with you anywhere, you know? Let's see. It's our boy Rob. Yeah, Rob Willis is awesome. Dave Finch is great. Only thing, he draws weird eyes and same faces. Yeah. Brett Booth is great. What's up, Chauncey? Sweetwater IPA is the goods. It's the goods. Crimson Book signed by Ramos. Go to Deathblow issue 1. I don't have that. That's right, it was on the back of Deathblow. That's good to know. That's what I'll end up having to pull up. Comic Vantage, be well, man. Thank you for coming through. It's always good to see you. Deathblow issue 1. You guys all know. Nathan Lum, how are you, sir? How are you? Thank you for joining us, man. Old school. Old school. I gotta load this thing up again. We're gonna start drawing. We're gonna do some development again. Isn't it the image 90s styled artist that really sells book versus the more lack of personality style, for a lack of a better term, that is flooding the market? That's an interesting thing, man. And like you said, it's mostly for the lack of a better phrase. Yeah. What up, Bad Noise? It's good to see you, my brother. So today I wanted to do some character work, right? And the character I want to mess with is the character that we know named Rascal, okay? The thing that even young Harrison, my son, who is you guys have met and enjoy, has said he calls Rascal the Blue Deadpool. The Blue Deadpool. And I said, okay, yeah, he's definitely got Deadpool isms, but he's not the Blue Deadpool. So, like I said, I had talked to Rob about redesigning Rascal a little bit. And, you know, part of that is going to work for us in that idea is that he's a shapeshifter anyway. That's what he does. He doesn't have to permanently stay that way. I'm just drawing a generic figure right now. That we can lay some stuff out on. So I usually, when I do some character design, I'll sometimes draw a 3/4 just to get like one side of them to feel that. These are always good too, these what I call the straight-ons, and this is one way you can keep things on model. This is an animation trick where you draw a straight line where the landmarks are. So we go, okay, that's the chest, that's the bottom of the rib cage, that's the groin, that's the knee, that's the whatever, the foot and leg. If you, let's see, I'm missing the chat room. Forgot to tune in. Good thing that Cybernetic Series some of the first stuff I did for Wildstorm. That's right. If you throw Campbell, Silvestri, Lee, Liefeld, Finch, etc. from that era, the books buzz and sell. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Those guys definitely, whatever they work on, the stuff definitely sells. Okay, so this is a lot of times when I do character design, I'll do this, which is just a real simple template to throw things on. So we reduce that down, go grab the Beast pencil, and I'll go, okay, well, he used to have round eyes like this. So what if we change the way they look? Or one of the things that I liked, and I drew him recently, is instead of seeing his eyes, I said he's got these kind of cool goggles, right? One of the things I liked is he always had that sort of rabbit ear thing going on. And I always liked his hair. His hair was always a crazy vibe, right? So that immediately, just by doing that, takes him slightly out of Deadpoolville. And then one of the things that I did, and I really still like about him is he's got the Ninja Turtle hands. And he also has Ninja Turtle feet, right? So one of the things I would do, thinking about those Ninja Turtle hands, is create different ways that the glove could look. And what I've been liking doing a lot lately is adding textured details that help sell the idea of depth. So if I have this glove that the joints are segmented, but then the underside of the thumb almost has, like, if this was a fingertip when we were looking directly at it, it almost has like rubber grips, like the bottom of a bottom of a shoe, right? So I think about that, because I think of him almost sort of cross between a cat and an amphibian. I know that sounds crazy. And that the other thing too is his suit. His suit is always in flux. So think of that as like Venom or Carnage. Like he's essentially, like, I created him in '93. I remember I was working at Extreme, and I was in a coffee shop, and I needed to balance out Black Flag. I had all these characters, but I needed my sort of wacky alien type, you know, like a Nightcrawler, that kind of thing. And oh man, Ballendor, you want pouches, man? You know I will. Notes of Adventurer, that's correct. Bad Noise knows the old school. Exactly. Alright, you want pouches. See, that, my friend, is where we get into things. So pouches and shoulder pads. So if I say, let's start with this pouch here. On a shoulder pad, which has this shoulder pad, will have pouches on it. Pouches on pouches, and then straps on straps. And a lot of the times when I do design, I'm thinking about giving texture and depth. That's one of the reasons why when you see them do like a Spider-Man costume for the movies, it's super textured. It's because that texture is more interesting to the eye than just a flat or shiny suit. Having that texture also conveys the idea of depth a little more. So here's a little bit of a look, and maybe what I'll do too, just to keep some things going, is put a little bit of that eye thing in there, right? Little notes of the old one, the old design in there, but not completely. He always had this disc on his chest, and the good thing about having something like an S on a chest, or A, or a star, or a bat, or whatever, is it's great for showing depth. Like if he's coming right at you, it's a circle. If he's leaning forward, it's an ellipse. If it's sideways, it's an ellipse. It helps really sell the idea of detail. And this is that really cool disc that he has that creates the teleportation. It's called the Time Slip Disc. Ballon likes big shoulder pads. Just wait till you see the one on the other side, man. Nah, I've got a big shoulder pad for here, hold on. I'm gonna zap over here real quick, and I'm gonna show you who has a really large shoulder pad. I'm gonna give you guys a sneak peek of He-Man 3, but I'm only gonna give you a sneak peek of this one panel. You guys cool with that? There you go. There's some He-Man 3 for you. We got some Trap Jaw, some Evil Lyn, some Skeletor, some Beastman. Oh, don't look down there. But that guy's got, oop, boop, boop. That guy's got really big shoulder pads, this Trap Jaw guy. Anyhow, that's all you're going to see of that. That was my only tease that I had for you. You said big shoulder pads, and I instantly thought of Trap Jaw's shoulder pad, because that's probably one of the biggest shoulder pads I've ever drawn. So then I always have his suit, kind of has these drips, and one of the things I want to do is explore how his drips work even more, create more design, almost like a Rorschach, you know, that when he gets mad, maybe they get more aggressive looking. They fly off him more when he's in battle. Maybe this stuff kind of goops out and all that. I feel spoiled. Sorry, man. Sorry if I broke your spoil heart. Your damn spoil heart. Bless his spoil heart. So there's some more pouches. Maybe even put a little thing that connects this here, that there. The underside of this was always a darker color, and I like that contrast of the blue against it. Rib cage. Yeah, and also, like, how thick do I want the goo to be? Does it leave a shadow? Does it, you know, what's it do? How else do I want to do his armor? Am I gonna, you know, take notes from like armor, that sort of hard shell armor? This. Play with the circle motif some more. That rib cage in there. Stomach. Let's see what we got here. Damn, he teasing. Thanks, man. Ha ha. It's a tease, man. Too many 40K books. Got much love for the spike shoulder pads. Alright. Yeah, spike shoulder pads are cool. I always wondered about those, though. Like, if you tilt your head too fast, you're gonna, you know, stab yourself in the dome. That would be weird. So I can go here with some more mechanical, or I can just keep it more athletic looking, like it was like a spandex type vibe. The other thing I always try to do is I try to incorporate the Black Flag logo somewhere. This over here on the shoulder pad seems like a a good a spot as any. Like that. If we did want to make it kind of ridiculous, I go like this. Edit shape. That's as good as any. So if I don't like it, there we go. I'm going to put another black flag symbol over on that side. So this is just, this is one vector that he could take. Other thing that we would do at this point is go over to our friend Pinterest and then yank up, see, it does that sometimes. Do this, drag this up and over, and then let's do a search for exo suit concept art. So then I'll take a look at some of this stuff, right? Like I like this a lot. We looked at this the other day, right? And if I look at this and I go, okay, well, we've got some fun little notes of things in this, but I go, okay, I have some similar shapes. So what would I do to apply some of these? So I would reduce this down, create a new layer, and say, well, I like those little things under the arms. It looks like they create some sort of crazy support. Look, here's even more. I like that. I love the thing on the back here. Like, how cool is that? You know, what if it gives you story ideas too, right? Like, you go, what if his that goop on him needs to be contained, like a symbiote, and Gorilla has to create him this thing that holds it in. And I look at this back apparatus and I go, yo, that's a cool concept in itself. So if I said, oh, you know what, I'm gonna take some of the design notes, and when I say notes, I mean we're not taking things verbatim or exact. We're looking at sort of the idea of things. Like I like how this looks like it could go into the back. It pops out like this. I like how these things sort of look like pistons going up and in, and how some of these things are like these little wires that go up and around, right? Bring some of that in over there on that side, and then do this. And a little bit of that there. Go back. See if there's anything else that looks worthwhile. I like some of the stuff in this neck here. So why don't we take some of that. Go again with that circle motif, take that on that strap there, add another one up here, repeated circles, because they have a nice fun look to them. Do it over here, maybe add one here, right? No, don't need that, but we can do it here and here. So then I take the eraser tool and I pull out what's underneath that stuff we just drew. Basically erase it out. That's weird. It went off about that, guys. I didn't even see that it went out. Anyway, here we are. We are erasing out some of the bits of the stuff we drew over, and then we bring that opacity back up. Now suddenly he looks a little more techy, kind of a fun look. Now what I want to look at, because I want to soup that, I'm going to save this to black flag, because I liked it. I like it. So then you put prosthetic arm. So I'll look at some of these, see if there's any that